Welcome back to Won't You Be My Gamer. We are a couple gamers who want to learn, and we are playing Murder on the Orient Express. This is our final episode, the thrilling conclusion. I'm Elise Willems.
I'm Nicole Zawalich, and we are joined by Kemper Donovan and Agatha Christie Expert, and you're going to help us solve this crime.
I hope I'm going to help you solve the crime. If it's similar to the way it was in the book, that's the only way in which I can help you.
And we, of course, are still marking things off of our Agatha Christie bingo chart, which I think we have to visit it now because there's like red herrings we've definitely
Absolutely
had.
And how.
Closed
circle, certainly.
Oh yeah, closed circle. Nicole, we haven't had a breaking and enter in the conventional sense, but you've been opening everyone's
You
luggage.
yourself have been breaking and entering all over
I
the place,
have
right?
received zero consent to enter anyone's room, and I've been in everyone's room.
Poison, could we group the sleeping pills?
I think so.
So we're getting there.
Yeah, this is, one of the few Agatha Christie's that doesn't have outright poison in it.
There is not one, but two possible solutions of the crime. I shall put them both before you, and I shall ask Monsieur Bouc and Dr. Constantine here to judge which solution is the correct one.
Ratchet was a pseudonym and
Yep,
an alternate identity.
absolutely. For Cassetti, who was the one who was behind this kidnapping ring, who kidnapped and killed Daisy Armstrong.
And we have that one. We're on the board already, right? Presumed names.
Do we?
We have to put names down because names in Christie, that is something that she does time and time again, not just in this book. We're in the denouement here. He's wrapping things up here among our
It's monologue
assembled
time.
cast. Yeah, it is.
And I also love that the swagger he has. He's not going to stand still. He's going to use the room, use the space.
Yeah.
Absolutely. David Suchet would talk about how hard it was to memorize these monologues, actually, for the Agatha Christie's Poirot series.
I bet.
It's a lot of words.
Yeah.
All on your own.
His watch was found to be badly dented, and it had stopped at 1:15.
Okay, so the watch gave us the time of death, approximately, because it was stopped.
Yes, but it turns out, at least in the book, the watch turns out to be a red herring.
Oh.
Yeah.
They thought of a lot of things.
Yes.
Like they really covered their tracks.
Yes.
So, here is my first theory. The enemy, as Ratchet expected, joined the train at Vinkovsky by the door left open by Captain Arbuthnot and Monsieur McQueen, who had just descended to the platform.
And this is one of the most famous denouements because usually the way this works out is that you have your assembled cast of characters and you point to your one person, right, who you say did it. But that's not the way that it works.
Ratchet was under the influence of a sleeping draught.
Okay, so they reveal here that yes, Ratchet was slightly drugged because he had been given those sleeping pills, as we know, and then he was stabbed after.
And we know that there were 12 stab wounds and that it looks like he was stabbed with right hands, left hands, different angles.
What do we think?
What was the motive for the crime? Revenge or money?
Well, he only had cash and no one took it, so.
Pretty sure it was revenge.
Yeah, I feel like that was probably supposed to be very obvious to us.
And also, they
Nothing
should have
was
taken the
stolen.
cash.
This was a premeditated crime, meticulously planned.
Meticulously planned.
So when was the crime planned? I'd say as
I'd say several
early as
months.
possible,
Yeah.
several months before.
You have to buy these tickets.
Think of how hard it is to make plans with a larger group, and
So hard.
and they managed to do so much more.
I have to say, I love this innovation on the form here of the video game is that you can at least punctuate the monologue with questions
Yes.
that you have to answer
Yes.
as a player. That's cool.
Keep you engaged.
Keep you engaged. I like that. I wish I had that sometimes when I was watching these.
I understood the truth. We have a train full of suspects. It's time to identify who the real culprits
Yeah, here we
are.
go.
This is it.
The Scooby-Doo moment.
Pulling off the mask.
They would have gotten away with it too.
Did Detective Locke stab Ratchet?
What are we saying?
No.
So that we think no?
So I think no.
No.
All right. Well,
She was drugged, too.
she was drunk. I'm comfortable with that one.
Planting the conductor's jacket in her suitcase was an attempt to implicate Detective Locke, but she couldn't fake her drugged condition.
I feel like Poirot is a very factual man who examines the evidence, and he doesn't often let his own morality corrupt situation. Would you agree or disagree?
That he is a very moral.
He tries to be impartial and just kind of look at the evidence.
He does. I mean, he has a phrase actually that runs throughout the canon, which is, "I do not approve of murder." And
which is suspicious to need to say so.
well, he really has no problem with taking extra legal measures if he doesn't feel like justice is being served. There's actually
legal measures, though.
Extra legal. So basically, going outside of the legal.
Opposite of super legal.
Yes. Yes.
Baker's dozen of legal, if you will.
There's a short story where he induces a heart attack in a murderer who then dies because he.
Is he not a murderer after that?
Was Poirot all about prison justice? Like, what is happening here?
There's
I believe in the system.
there's an element of vigilantism to it.
Yeah.
And that
I don't
very
think
much
Book did it.
comes out to play. Yeah, Book did not.
Oh yeah, Book. No, look at him. He's chill. He's cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, how come?
He was not
Our
involved.
friendship.
He is certainly a very close friend, but
Not just because he's a close friend.
Nah,
Never allow my
Poirot would put a friend behind bars. No questions
Wow,
asked.
I really thought that was going to be enough for him.
See, these are his high standards. I mean, he does. He holds himself and everyone else around him to a very high standard. And there is, I think, this sort of pure morality to him. But ironically, that then means that if he feels that the legal system has failed in a certain situation, he's more than willing to just go around it and sort of play God, which is in conflict with his faith. You know, he is a very devout Catholic.
But it lends to the demigod theory that he is, in fact, Hercules, and his power is insight.
Strong of mind and the deduction.
Uh-huh.
It was a very evocative name to choose.
What about this guy?
Right?
He did it?
Yes, he did. Pierre Michel.
Look at him. Of course he did.
Look, he looks worried. Poor Pierre Michel. He's the father of Ms. Moreau.
no, that is his motive.
Oh, I said
Incorrect
that.
about
No,
that.
that is his
Oh,
mother.
oh.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What implicates
he
it?
drugged
I
her.
see.
Your admission that you drugged the detective.
Yeah, you can't admit that you drugged the police. That's not going to look good. Is there ever any romance with Hercule?
So there is a woman named Vera Rosikoff, the Countess Rosikoff. She's very much the Irene Adler, to make an analogy to Sherlock Holmes,
Okay.
of the Poirot verse. And she appears in 2 short stories and 1 novel. But for the most part, no. And Agatha Christie was actually very light when it came to the personal backstories of her detectives, because they really do function almost as
The reader almost.
and kind of as thinking machines.
Conduit.
You know?
Yeah.
And a bit like supernatural beings almost, where they have this
It's like an omnipotence.
divine ability, this omnipotence, and it's much more
He
about
looks so guilty,
what
though,
they
right?
do to the story. Oh, yeah.
Watch this. Oh, yeah, you're innocent. So the whole premise is that he's going back to London, and he just happens to be on this train. So it's unlucky for everyone that this, demigod detective is on their train.
Incredibly unlucky. I mean, they get unlucky for 2 reasons. The snowing in, which was, if it hadn't snowed in, then it would have been easier to pretend that someone had come in and then left and killed Ratchet, who did have a lot of enemies, right? Seeing who he was. And then, of course, yes, having Hercule Poirot on your train is an obvious nightmare.
That's what cleared Book was he tried so hard to get Poirot on.
Poirot
the train.
on, exactly.
Like how he just imagine being somewhere and Hercule Poirot just zeroes in on you, and he's like, "All right, let's go."
It's
Like a lion to the feast. Yeah.
Did Ms. Schmidt stab
course
Ratchet?
she
Yes,
did.
she did.
Of course she did.
Fraulein Schmidt, you told me of your
Fraulein. Some people are Mademoiselle, some people are Fraulein.
It's a very
do you decide?
international train.
It is very international. By the way, that's one of the clues, at least in the book, when Poirot realizes how international this cast of people on the train are. Again, during the off season, or it's just strange that they would all assemble. And he says, where is there sort of an international gathering of people? And he thinks it makes him think of an American household that would employ a French maid and an Italian chauffeur, and have nursemaids, etc.
Of course he
Of course
did.
he did. They all. Can we just say it?
Yeah.
They all
They should
did.
just- after the 5th one, they should be like, "Do you think everybody did?"
Oh, I can't.
Is there a shortcut?
I can imagine if you are unfamiliar with this story and you're playing this game for the first time, and
Yes.
one by one you're going through every person, and oh no, they did do it. Your mind's blown.
getting blown
Yeah.
as it's like, wait, they did. I mean, and I'm sure you're not saying yes to every single one.
Oh,
and
yeah.
sort of by trial and error figuring this out very slowly.
And I only had to say no once, and it was his wife.
Oh, the wife didn't, right?
Right, she wasn't one of the
She did not
stabbers.
stab. And that's why, even though there were 13, ultimately only 12 people did it because she didn't stab him.
Even that. Let's move on to Monsieur.
And pretty much only because they liked the number 12, and they're like, sorry, you don't get a turn.
Because there were 12 people serve on a jury.
Yeah.
There's 12 people serve in a jury, and also,
Symbolic.
at least in the book, she's the sister to Mrs. Armstrong. She's the aunt of Daisy Armstrong. It's almost like too close for her. Like she kind of can't handle it. So she takes a sleeping pill and is just out
Yeah.
for the entire time.
So, you deliberately lied to me, and you also lied about Mademoiselle Debenham's whereabouts.
Enough! I can't take this anymore. I know what you want from me, Mr. Poirot. Very well. Here it is. She was my little Daisy, my angel, so patient.
And I think there's a human aspect to this where you, the viewer, the reader, you can understand why these people went to the lengths they did.
It's a child murder.
Yeah.
I mean, she took a really extreme case, right? When she picked a true crime case, she picked it well. And you know what? I mean, the other probably the second most famous true crime case that she used was another instance of child abuse, which forms the central intrigue of The Mousetrap, which is now the longest running play in any theater anywhere ever. It's been running for over 70 years in London's West End. So she knew how to pick them. And by the way, that's Greta Olson, who in the 1974 version was played by Ingrid Bergman, who won an Academy Award for the role.
Wow.
She actually won an Academy Award. There were other nominations. That movie, I think, was nominated for 6 Academy Awards, but she actually won. Albert Finney, who played Poirot, was nominated as well. Dr. Constantine did not.
He didn't?
No.
He
He is a doctor. Because he's a doctor.
He's a doctor.
Are you kidding me? Doctors in Agatha Christie are often murderers. Seriously. Second only to actors, actually.
Who's the actor?
We haven't. Well, have we
They're
gotten to
all
Mrs.
acting,
Have we gotten
really.
to Mrs. Hubbard? I don't think we've gotten to Mrs. Hubbard yet. And actually, Mrs. Hubbard is kind of the one who takes center stage in the denouement of the novel. I'm curious to see what she has to say.
Moreover, your alibi is confirmed by Monsieur Bouc, whom I would trust with my life.
Really? Because you were questioning Book a
Yeah.
few minutes ago, and now you trust him with your life? That's interesting.
I want him to be like, sir, I asked you to be quiet.
Yeah, remember all those times you told him to shut his craw?
From the moment I inspected your room at the hotel.
You have a bloody nerve.
Indeed, I do.
We're getting married.
Secret romance.
Secret romance.
Yes, here we go, baby. Circle that up.
And those are the two who we saw on the Taurus Express before the Orient Express, and they were very chummy, even though
Okay.
they supposedly had just met.
Well,
What links Captain Arbuthnot to John Armstrong's soldiers?
hell yeah.
Captain Arbuthnot, you served in the army with John Armstrong.
War veteran.
War
oh
veteran.
my gosh, you guys. There's like very few we're not hitting.
What it's like. There's a
I'm just gonna cross out the. Everyone went home to a country house, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll get that too.
They all have cell phones, so I think phone call counts.
Phone call. Yeah. Oh yeah. They would have used them if they hadn't all got smashed.
I was questioning someone earlier, and one of the options to decide whether or not he also stabbed him was he's Italian, so xenophobia.
Okay. So
And that is, so Murder on the Orient Express actually quits itself very well when it comes to those elements stuck in their time.
Yeah.
In a Christie novel. There are other Christie novels that are much more problematic, but there is a through line in the novel that, well, probably the Italian did it, because Italians like to stab people.
Yeah.
That is said multiple times in the novel.
Yeah.
You're like, really?
That's not even something I've
Okay.
even heard before.
Now it is time to end with Mrs. Hubbard.
Oh, here we go.
okay.
Wait for it. Linda Arden.
Linda
Look at
Arden.
that zoom. Oh man,
Look
that
at
was like
this.
No
And
Country
who
for
is
Old
Linda
Men.
Arden? Wait for it.
If Princess Dragomirov,
A little longer.
Going build to a.
this famous actress,
Okay, there we go. We get
Actor.
the actors. We get the
Wow.
actors.
Actor.
We just need confirmation of a widow.
I mean, I don't know where the princess's husband is, so I'm assuming she's a.
She's almost definitely a widow.
Yeah, I mean, he's death's door.
Yeah.
Knocking, okay. And Poirot is being flooded with all of this because these do not seem like bad people.
Exactly. So it's interesting, and I feel like this came up at some point in an earlier episode, but David Suchet, the way that he brings this character to life, because it's coming late in the series, he is so tortured
He's fatigued
in this moment.
Poirot, and he's been through a lot, right?
Yes, he can barely get through this scene because he's so disgusted by having to set these people free, and he doesn't want to do it. In the text, Poirot's he's fine with it.
Yeah, and in the movie version too.
In Kenneth
Yeah,
Branagh, yeah.
he's kind of like, oh well, next adventure.
Yeah, that's closer to the book,
Yeah.
quite honestly. I get it. I think Agatha Christie does an excellent job of kind of setting up who Cassetti, to Ratchet/Cassetti was, how awful this child murder was, the way that they did what they did and why they did it. And I'm completely on the side of letting them get away.
Yeah.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the conduit for the audience.
Vigilantism all the way, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's. Are you going to condemn these people who just righted a wrong and brought justice?
Yeah.
But we
Look,
solved
we have
it.
the Agatha Christie signature. We did it.
Wow.
Good for us.
There we go.
Wait a second.
What is happening?
Oh, is this like a little
Oh,
like extra
I'm sorry to
Marvel-
wake you up in the
End
middle
credit
of the
scene.
night. There was a detail that bothered me in my preliminary autopsy of Ratchet's body. I went back to examine the body and I discovered a wound covered by another. The blow I hadn't seen was delivered by a thinner, sharper blade. So there were not 12, but 13 stab wounds.
There is
No.
only one explanation. Somehow, some way, there is
Palpatine came
a
back.
13th murderer on this train.
What? Is that the end of the...
Wait, did they just do a big fake out for us? Kemper, I'm so sorry you had to see this. This was not.
we thought we solved the crime.
No, yeah, we're as shocked as you are.
I cannot believe this has happened.
Solved the case for themselves.
This is what happens when I get myself wrapped up in a video game.
Yeah.
Now you have to go home and play all of it.
My tidy solution that I thought I had
Out the
has
door.
been ripped away from me.
Well, and like Kemper, we encourage you to go and play this for yourself, figure out who the 13th murderer is, and let us know in the comments below, because we want to know. Kemper, thank you so much for joining us for this. I'm so sorry to end it on this note.
You solved 12 of the 13, though.
I'd like to thank you, but no, this was this was absolutely lovely. I had such a good time.
How can people find more of your work?
So people can find my podcast, All About Agatha. If you want more Agatha Christie in your life, and why wouldn't you?
You do.
You can search for All About Agatha wherever you listen to podcasts. You can read my debut mystery novel, which is very much inspired by Agatha Christie. It's called The Busybody, wherever you buy books. And you can find me on Twitter at All About the Dame, on Instagram at All About Agatha, and you can find me personally on Facebook at Kemper Donovan Books. I would love to hear from you.
So concludes our playthrough of Murder on the Orient Express in this first series of Won't You Be My Gamer. Please subscribe and like so we'll do more. I'm Elise Willems.
I'm Nicole Zavalich. Won't you be my gamer?